Hello and welcome to another episode of Connecting the Dollars. Today is our New Year's resolution episode. This is the third year I believe we're doing these, and we really enjoy them. We're going to discuss Amanda's goals and what she learned last year, and then some of my goals from last year and what I've learned. So my name is Emily Agosto. I am a CPA and financial advisor at Propel Financial Advisors.
And I am Amanda Vaught, attorney and fellow co-founder of Propel Financial Advisors.
Yes. All right, Amanda, do you want to go ahead and start with your resolution from last year?
Sure. So last year, one of my resolutions was to read more books. And so I did this by first breaking it down, okay,
Mhm.
and figuring out, okay, how many books should it be? What's a good way to do it? So I decided on 26 books because I figured that was gave me one every other week. Um, and then I created an account on Goodreads, right? So then
Mhm.
I could track it, made it easy to track it.
Give you
And then
some,
on there,
yeah, give you
what's
some
that?
accountability.
Yeah, and then became friends with some people on there. So, and then told them this was my goal. And so that was a great platform to do so. And then I didn't quite hit my goal,
That's all right.
but I feel like I wouldn't have read as much if I didn't have the goal. Um, And then the other thing I was thinking about, well, if I read some shorter books or if I read some easier books, I could have probably read more.
Hmm.
But I felt like at the end of the day, I didn't want to sacrifice wanting to read things I was really interested in just to hit some kind of number. So, you know,
Yeah,
um,
that's awesome. You had that like kind of what's the word? Just that like perspective throughout the year to think about, oh, I want to reach this goal, but I'm not going to just go read any old thing just to hit that goal. There was more intention behind it.
yeah, like I was saying, I read Wolf Hall, which I've been meaning to read for forever. And we took a family trip to London. I'm like, okay, so I'll read this book, a lot of British history before we're in England. So,
Mhm.
which was a great book. But it was hard for me to get through. But I was thinking about how does this apply to, this is a personal finance podcast, so but I think all of those types of aspects can apply to um any kind of number goal,
Yeah.
right? Or money goal. And, learning, doing that, even though it's not specifically about finances, you learn those lessons and it does spill over into other
Yeah.
areas of your life. So,
Yeah.
um,
It kind of gives you maybe a little bit of like, I'm losing my words today. Of like I said, intention, but also some like diligence, some like maybe focus on one thing, and that can spill over into somewhere else in your life.
yeah. So like, oh, accountability, that did work for me. So, so now I know if I set another goal, oh, I need to make sure I have that accountability bit in place. Or, oh, maybe my goal is to save $10,000 towards some goal, and maybe I don't hit it exactly, but if I go back to saying, well, the quality is more important than the quantity,
Hmm.
right? Um, thinking through things that way.
Right. You could say like I was still able to save, let's say 5,000 that year, but I was able to do it and still like have a very full life and not have
Right,
to sacrifice
exactly.
certain things and meet certain goals. So yeah, it's a
Yeah. It's all about finding the balance, right?
right.
Yeah. So, okay, $10,000 would have been too extreme on my budget. I still want to be able to like go to the water park with my kids.
Right.
Maybe it put me short of my goal, but I still
It
had
was
fun.
yeah, it
Still
was worth
saved some
that.
money along the way. Yeah,
It was worth
exactly.
that.
So, those were some lessons from my New Year's resolution. How
Nice.
about yours, Emily?
Yeah, mine was kind of a little more not as specific. I kind of wanted to just prioritize self-care this year. Um, Tax season is at the beginning of the year. It's always crazy, and I wanted to just be a little more intentional about still doing the things that I enjoy and the things that kind of keep me calm. So that was it was definitely a good experience. I mean, in terms of accountability for me, I guess it was more like setting the boundary at work, like telling my business partner, like, or any of you at Propel, like, I need, a half day on Friday, things like that. Like, you have to be able to take care of yourself before you can thrive in every other aspect. And I think especially as women, we hear this, and as small business owners, you're juggling so many things. And
Mm,
it all just kind of sunk in. I don't know if it's because I turned 40 this year in 2024 or what, but I was like, this needs to be at the forefront of my mind because there's there's no point running myself ragged and feeling,
yeah,
feeling down.
yeah. Isn't that the great thing about being in your 40s is that you just stop caring about these things that you're just like, why did I care about this? It's
It's
time to
true.
really take charge of my own life and
Hmm.
let and like yeah, I don't know. There I think the 40s is cool, right? But
It's very freeing. I don't know. Like
yes.
millennials, listen up. When you get there,
Yeah.
you'll understand.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Turning 40 is one thing, but once you're in your 40s, it's great. So
Yeah, it's been so far so good.
yeah. So do you feel like, you feel like you were successful in your New Year's resolution, Emily, or did you fall short a little bit? What do you think?
I feel like because this is kind of a difficult to measure goal, I do feel like I succeeded because I feel more, I don't know, present, grounded, and like calmer than I
Hmm.
did maybe a year ago. And looking forward to another tax season, I feel a little less stressed out about it already, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So, but something I didn't really expect is kind of like in your goal, like the spillover into other aspects of my life. Like I'll find myself going online to just find some instant gratification and buy something silly or maybe not so silly, maybe, a little spendy. And then kind of already having that like mental checklist to be like intentional. Is this really going to, serve me in
Hmm.
another
Yeah.
week, or is it just today that I need a boost? So
Yeah.
instead of actually like purchasing the item, it was easier to be like, I'm just going to go listen to a podcast instead. I'm going to go listen to some music I like, or just really look at the item and be like, what am I going to do with this? Like, I don't need this. So it kind of gave a little bit more perspective in
Yeah.
that area as well.
Yeah, isn't that so interesting? I was saying too, another thing I did this year that I had was my goal from 2023, but I injured my shoulder, so it got pushed to 24. So I finally got into taking sailing lessons and it's one of those things when you're like, I don't know how to do this. And for me, the perfectionist me is not good at being bad at things. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. It's a little scary. Um, but at the end of the day, that stuff is so good for you. And it's
Yes.
not just about the sailing per se. You take that and it makes it easier to do things at work or easier to do things in your personal life. Um,
Yeah.
or to spill over into personal finance, right? Like, oh, this feels scary and uncomfortable, but you know what? I did it in this other realm and it was okay. I made it through, and having that experience with that feeling can really help unlock other areas of your life in such a great way, right?
Oh, absolutely. And
So,
developing a new skill or learning something new can lead to a new hobby, which becomes another form of self-care and all spills into each other. So
yeah, for
doing the
sure.
things you enjoy.
Yeah. And then, if we're making money goals, now you say, oh, okay, that was a valuable experience. I need to double down on that. Now
Mhm.
you can budget for it,
Yeah.
right?
If we wanted to get into kind of some more like real numbers and things like that, some people aren't like, I mean, we tend to think that money is linked to, psychology in a way, and the way we think about things in our lives also
Yeah.
translates the way we think about things in our money lives. But if you're someone who's just like, just tell me how much to save, or like, I do better with straight result or straight rules,
Yeah.
not just like this kind of ethereal thing. What's some of the more common like goals that they suggest out there?
Well, as far as savings, the default savings number to aim for is 20% of your gross income.
Mhm.
Um, so, I would say if you're a kind of person who doesn't want to like think through all these different um things and want more like hard numbers, I would take my end of the year paycheck, look at the year to date number, assuming you're a W-2 employee, right, with a
Correct.
regular paycheck, and say, okay, and then look at how much savings you did and see, divide that savings by that income number and get a very rough percentage, see where
Yeah.
you fall. And if you fell short of 20%, think, how can I increase that just a little bit? Um, and then just automate it.
Yeah.
Think, okay, it's one thing to think about it, it's another thing to do it, right? That's where a lot of
Yeah.
people,
Taking action.
everybody, yeah, taking the action is can be the very difficult part.
Mhm.
Just sit down right now, log into your bank and just automate it.
Yep. It's kind
So,
of nice. It's something like, even if you didn't have a savings goal for this past year, like being able
yeah.
to look at your bank account from last year to this year and take in the like 20% number from your pay stub, just kind of see where you're at. I mean, that could give you a start. Like maybe you're someone who has a hard time even coming up with a number. Like it's so overwhelming. Where do I even start?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
if it's way below, don't be discouraged. There's always little tweaks we can all make. I'm sure we have
yeah.
many podcasts about how you can make the increase your savings goals.
Yes, we do. And and I would other thing too, I mean, we always talk about save more, save more. There are people out there who save too much. And
Yes.
so it is possible that's you. And then if you look at that number and you say, "Oh, I saved 30%," you know, first of all, great job. But
Congrats.
also, maybe your New Year's resolution should be more, how do I spend more of my money to enjoy my life? Getting back to a little more of the woo side of things,
Yeah.
finding that balance.
Or how do
eh,
you make your money work harder for you? Like if you have a bunch of cash
yeah,
sitting
exactly.
around, that's maybe not the best place for it to be.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe you saved extra because you're planning to take a sabbatical from work and take a year off, because you did set that intention several years ago. Obviously you would be in a different place than somebody else, right? So,
Ooh, that sounds so nice. We need to,
yes.
people need to find ways to take sabbaticals more, I think. Employers should
Yes,
encourage
yes,
that.
yes, for sure. I think it's a thing. So I think we covered a lot of great stuff today, Emily. We just want to say happy 2025 to all our listeners.
Yes.
Really want to hear our listeners' own year's resolutions. We're happy to be your accountability partners. That's what we're here for our clients. So please let us know.
Yeah, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our podcast wherever you're listening to it, and reach out to us via email at info@connectingthedollars.com. I think that covers
Okay.
it. All right, thanks.
Yep. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.